watching UNO with Dr. Ambrish Saxena.
Hello students, today is Wednesday 30th of October 2019. Chief Minister of Delhi Arvind Kejriwal made an announcement on Monday that the minimum wages of the workers in Delhi are being increased, and this increase will benefit about 55 lakh workers. Now let us try to unfold this story. As per this announcement, the minimum wage of a worker in Delhi will increase to 14,842, whereas the national minimum wages are 4,628. So this means there is a threefold increase as far as the national minimum wages level is concerned. Now what exactly this minimum wages are? Minimum wages are the wages which the government prescribes should be given to a worker for working on a particular day. It can be counted on a weekly basis. It can also be counted on a monthly basis. As per the notification of Delhi government, this raise has been made at every level. For unskilled workers, it is 14,842 rupees. For semi-skilled workers, it is more than 16,000 rupees. For skilled workers, but those who are not graduate, it is close to 18,000 rupees, and for skilled workers plus those who are having degrees more than graduation, it is more than 19,000 rupees, and this applies on all kind of workers, on regular employees, on contractual employees, casual employees, as well as the daily wage workers. As per the increase made by Delhi government, there is a 37% increase in wages in Delhi. Parliament has passed a law this year only in August 2019, which is titled as Code of Wages. This law replaces the earlier 4 acts. One is the Payment of Wages Act 1936, then Minimum Wages Act 1948, then Payment of Bonus Act 1965, and then Equal Remuneration Act 1976. Now, what is the need of bringing a central law when already the states passed the law? So here we have to understand that this workers issues or the labor related issues are there in the concurrent list of the constitution. So both the central government and any of the state governments, this means any of the state assemblies, can pass a legislation in this regard. Now looking into the central government rules with regard to minimum wages. This year only the government fixed the minimum wages at 178 rupees per day. There was a hike of 2 rupees as compared to the level of the last 2 years. But if we calculate this in terms of inflation which has been there during the last 2 years, so there is a decline in the minimum wages as fixed by the central government. And this is further interesting to note if we refer to the recommendations of the 7th Pay Commission, then we find the minimum wages have been fixed at 18,000 rupees per month. And let me tell you about this 7th Pay Commission. This is a pay commission which was appointed for revision in the salaries of central government employees. It was set up in 2014. It gave its report in 2015, and the report was accepted by the government in 2016. Thereafter, implementation on this report was made. But then this 18,000 rupees is very close to the wages that have been notified by Delhi government now. Moving to another story that is related to the assembly elections which happened only last week in Haryana and Maharashtra. I have already unfolded many aspects of these elections, but today I will particularly talk about Nota. Nota means none of the above. None of the above further means that if you as a voter are going to cast your vote, the names of the candidates along with their political parties and symbol you will find on your voting machine, and down below there will be a option which is called Nota. This means if you are not convinced with any of the candidates fielded by different political parties, you can exercise the option of Nota. Now, if we look into the use of Nota in Maharashtra, more than 1,45,000 voters use the Nota option, which means there is an increase of 113% in the use of Nota as compared to the last assembly elections there. And in 2 assembly constituencies, Nota was the runners up. In Haryana, in 6 assembly constituencies, the vote that Nota got was either more than or close than the victory margin of the winning candidates. This Nota was implemented in the year 2013 in few assembly elections. Later on, the Election Commission of India introduced it in all elections, the Lok Sabha elections and the assembly elections. There was a petition which was filed by an NGO ADR in Supreme Court. Following the Supreme Court, the Election Commission made a provision for Nota in the elections. Earlier there was a provision that if any voter was not interested to vote for any of the candidates, he could have approached the presiding officer and the presiding officer could allow him not to vote. But the Supreme Court says this was not a right practice in view of the freedom of expression guaranteed in the Constitution and also in view of the secrecy of vote. The Supreme Court is of the opinion that once Nota is implemented, there was a clear message to political parties that voters are not convinced with the kind of candidates which have been fielded and they need to field candidates of integrity, and this ultimately will lead to a reformation in the entire system. If we look into the meaning of Nota on the ground, Nota is in fact a negative vote, which is a reflection of the disillusionment of the voters with the current political dispensation. This is also an expression of political dissent as far as the policies and the candidates of the ruling party is concerned. Also, this reflects on the opposition parties that they have failed in providing the right kind of alternatives to the voters. There are some positive things about Nota. This is a check on bogus voting, because if the voter is going to the polling booth for exercising his vote, then obviously no bogus voting will happen. This is also shows that the voters are keen to participate in the electoral process, since they are going to the polling booth and not voting for anybody, but at least they are participating in the whole exercise. And mind it, this whole electoral reform through Nota is a very slow process, but ultimately it can go a long way in reforming the system. That is all in today's edition.